Jesus came in the back door. A lot of us don't realize that because we've never been taught that. We think of the triumphal entry, Palm Sunday. We think of it as this giant party, this huge victory parade where the crowd is singing, "Come save us, Son of David." Jesus is marched into Jerusalem with the crowd cheering. And that's kind of true. But we're missing something really, really important when we look at the Gospels without understanding what actually was going on in that city. This is the week before Passover. And Jerusalem has had a history of rebelling against Rome, of rioting during Passover. Now think about it. All of these people from all over the Judean wilderness, they all come to Jerusalem for the Passover. It's crowded, there's no room at the inn, everybody's gathered together, and all of them are devout Jews waiting for the return of their kingdom, waiting for the return of Israel, waiting for the king to come and release them from the bondage of Rome. They wind up talking about how evil Rome is, and they rise up and they say, if we just have enough faith, we'll be able to take down these filthy Romans and establish the throne of David once again. That's what's going on in Jerusalem. And because of that, Rome did the same thing every year. They marched their army into Jerusalem. We look at Palm Sunday as the coronation of the king. And we miss the fact that Jesus did everything backwards. Jesus was trolling the might of Rome. Jesus was doing street theater. He was presenting an alternative to the government of Rome. Jesus was making fun of Rome coming in the front door to all the power and pomp, the Pax Romana, the people declaring the might of Rome. And they're making a big show of it so these Jews wouldn't get too uppity during Passover. So that these Jews would know that Rome is here in force. This had to be done in a way that was huge spectacle so everyone in Jerusalem would know, do not fuck with Rome. And Jesus came in the back door. And he wasn't riding a war horse. He was riding a young donkey. Now we know that Jesus was expressing his humility. We understand that. Matthew quotes the prophet Zechariah that says, "Behold, Jerusalem, your king is coming on the foal of a donkey, coming humbly and gently." In the back door, Rome is coming through with all the might and military prowess. But in the back door comes a king who's riding on a donkey. And in the back door, Jesus is coming in as the servant. Jesus is coming as the king, but he's subverting everything we know about kings. He wasn't trying to look important. He was riding a working vehicle. He wasn't coming in the back of a convertible Rolls Royce. He was coming in an old Chevy truck. As a king that gets involved in people's lives. As a king that is not trying to conquer, but he's trying to invite. This is not just Jesus fulfilling prophecy. This is Jesus acting as a jester, making fun of the power structures of the world. I wonder why Christians today are so much more excited about the rapture, the return of Jesus, the glory of Jesus conquering everybody. Now, I'll just be honest with you. I think people completely misunderstand Revelation. But why is that fascination with Jesus punishing our enemies and taking this world by force? Why is that something that so much of our Christian church grabs a hold of as a promise, as something to be looked forward to? We expected that last time. And Jesus came as a humble servant riding a donkey. Now, what does this have to do with us? It's a cool story. It's maybe a little bit of a weird take on things. I get it. What does this mean to me, a Christian man living in a world that lifts up power and money and wealth, that wants to show everybody who I am, that's all consumed with status? How, as a Christian man, does this apply to me? As I'm saying that, you know how it applies to you. We have to be different. We have to come into our kingness as servants. We have to come into our kingness as people that invite others to follow us, not that force other people to follow us. We've got to stop blowing the horns of conquest and start walking in the back door with love and gentleness. But this isn't the whole story. Don't end there. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about what happens when Jesus gets off his ass. And you need that lesson to go along with this one. Jesus comes in as a servant, but right away he gets off that ass and gets about his Father's business. Tomorrow's message is get off your ass. Make sure and tune in for that one. And press the subscribe button, press the notification button. Send this to somebody that might need a little bit of subversion on Palm Sunday. I just want to remind you today that the Alpha Bros don't get it. The Omega Men understand that we are called to enter into our power in a way that subverts all of the expectations. Omega Men finish well.